The door swings wide at golden hour. Cold air rushes in and meets the glow. Half of winter, half of April's flower. Neither one quite ready yet to go. Coats still on, but scarves are loosening. The season turning like a page. Something old and something brightening. Spring is setting up its quiet stage. Spring doorway jazz, the threshold between the last cold breath and the first warm dream. Stand here a little longer, don't step through. The most beautiful light is in the doorway. Half in darkness, half in something new. Spring doorway jazz, the in-between song, where belonging starts before you belong. Someone orders something hot to hold. Someone else takes off their coat at last. Outside, the cherry trees are growing bold. Petals forming, coming through the glass. Piano threads between the coming and going. Trumpet hums the question of the night. Something's ending, something else is growing. Even thresholds have their kind of light. Spring doorway jazz, the threshold between the last cold breath and the first warm dream. Stand here a little longer, don't step through. The most beautiful light is in the doorway. Half in darkness, half in something new. Spring doorway jazz, the in-between song, where belonging starts before you belong. Every season has its own entrance, and every entrance has its own grace. I'll stay here in the open sentence, with the cold wind touching my face. Because something about the not yet is the sweetest place I've known. Half arrived and half forgotten, but never quite alone. The door swings shut at last, the room holds still. Spring has entered without making a sound. Coats come off and cups refill. The warmest kind of season has been found. Spring doorway jazz, we made it through. From the last cold night to something new. The threshold past the warm side now. Spring doorway jazz, take a bow. The in-between was beautiful while it stayed, but the warm side is where the music played. Across the silence of this room, your profile caught against the night, a painting I could not consume. Low chord on the piano falls like a curtain made of dusk. April whispers through the walls, all in amber, all in musk. Velvet April Eve, we don't need words. The music says the things we've never heard out loud, out clear, out in the open light. Ooh, Velvet April keeps them soft tonight. Two people in a window in the dark, and a melody that moves between the heart. You look outside and nothing much. I look at you and look away. A conversation without touch is still a thing two people say. The bass line holds a low, long note, like a breath you haven't taken yet. Everything I mean to quote dissolves before it can be said. Velvet April Eve, we don't need words. The music says the things we've never heard out loud, out clear, out in the open light. Velvet April keeps them soft tonight. Two people in a window and the dark, and a melody that moves between the heart. What if silence is the language of the things we mean the most? What if velvet is the bandage over everything we almost said? Let the candle be the sentence, let the shadow be the word. Let this April evening be the most beautiful thing we've ever heard. Candle lowers, melts to close. April outside turns to midnight blue. We leave without saying how it goes, but something shifted, something new. Velvet April Eve, we kept it still, and still it said exactly what it will. Two chairs pushed back, two cups gone cold, the warmest story never told. Velvet April Eve, and we were in the most beautiful, unspeakable air. Lanterns are low, the alley is narrowing, rivers of glow. I walk through the amber of some other age, a city of margins and half-written pages. The cafe announces itself with its warmth, glass windows gold against the wet and the storm. A brush snare, a bass note, a door opening wide. I step off the cobblestone, step to the inside. Candlelight on the cobblestones, calling me in from the cold. Candlelight on the cobblestones, a story centuries old. The world outside is silver and gray, but here the gold has come to stay. Candlelight on the cobblestones, leading is coming from the rain. I find a small table beside the warm glass, watch the reflections of strangers walk past. The lanterns outside make long rivers of light. I could be anywhere, this is just right. Oh, candlelight on the cobblestones, calling me in from the cold. Candlelight on the cobblestones, a story centuries old. The world outside is silver and gray, but here the gold has come to stay. Candlelight on the cobblestones, leading me all the way. Every city has a doorway that opens into somewhere warm. Every stranger has a story that begins with coming in from the storm. I don't know this place by name, but I know it by its light. Candlelight on cobblestones is the same in every night. Ooh. The music winds down and the evening grows late. I leave a few coins on the table and wait one last look at the room and the light on the cups, then back to the cobblestones, collar turned up. Candlelight on the cobblestones, still burning as I go. Candlelight on the cobblestones, the warmest light I know. The world outside is silver and gray, but I was golden for a day. Candlelight on the cobblestones, carrying me away.
Still wearing my coat in the evening light, though something outside says I might not need it. A single small bloom in the window tonight. I lean toward the glass and I almost believe it. The heater is on, but the windows are cracked. Winter holds on with its cold, careful hand, but something out there wants the world to change back into something warmer and something unplanned. First bloom, last coat, the season is changing on this quiet note. 1 foot in winter, 1 step into light. First bloom, last coat, somewhere between night and the morning that hasn't arrived yet. The coat's still on, but the heart already there. I think about things that have come to their end, and things that are coming that don't have a name. A bud on the branch is the first little mend of a world that has needed some color again. The trumpet plays low like a thing it remembers. The bass keeps the time that the cold used to own, but the melody lifts like the end of December's into something more tender than I've ever known. First bloom, last coat, the season is changing on this quiet note. 1 foot in winter, 1 step into light. First bloom, last coat, somewhere between night and the morning that hasn't arrived yet. The coat's still on, but the heart already there. There's a grace in the in-between, when you're not yet free and not yet caught in the space of the almost spring, in the warmth of the last coat you've got. Let the season be slow about it, let the bloom take its time to open. Something this tender shouldn't rush, the most beautiful things arrive half spoken. The last coat hangs on the back of the chair. Come morning I think I won't reach for it. The first bloom outside has perfumed the air with the sweetest announcement. Spring has come to sit. First bloom, last coat, winter dissolving on a piano note. Both feet now in the light of the new. First bloom, last coat, and something like you. Somewhere in the warmth between the coats and flowers, something quiet changed across those threshold hours.
Clock struck 5 and I walked right out the door. Left the email stacking on the floor. City's still buzzing, but I'm shifting down. Found my corner table, ordered dark and brown. Espresso in a cup the size of a thumb, but it hits like the first note of a drum. I breathe in the steam and the noise falls away. This tiny black cup is erasing my day. After work espresso swing, the best decompression, this beautiful thing. No inbox, no agenda, no clock on the wall, just a jazz piano and a short honest call. Back to myself, back to the beat. After work espresso swing now complete. The bassist walks a line I wanna follow, somewhere between the rhythm and tomorrow. I tap my fingers on the marble top, deciding that the world can wait and stop. Second cup is coming, I say yes without thinking. The piano plays a run and I find myself singing quietly under my breath just a bit. Some days the city fits and some days this fits. After work espresso swing, the best decompression, this beautiful thing. No inbox, no agenda, no clock on the wall, just a jazz piano and a short honest call. Back to myself, back to the beat. After work espresso swing now complete. On someone else's tempo all day long, running someone else's rhythm, someone else's song. But now the bass line's mine and the beat belongs to me. An espresso in my veins is the only harmony. Let the city go at its pace. I found my tempo in this space. 2 square inches of black coffee, and I'm back inside my face. The cup is empty, the room is still warm. I button my coat for the outside storm, but inside the music swing. The city is loud, but I found my thing. I'll be back tomorrow at 5:15 after work. Espresso swing, how to survive. Back to the rhythm, back to the beat, back to the rhythm, back to the beat. After work, espresso swing now complete. There's a table in the corner no one claims, where the light comes down in small forgiving flames. I sit here in the company of sound. The trumpet speaks the things I haven't found. It says something like, do you remember? The piano answers, yes, I think I do. And in between them in the warm November, something passing through the room feels true. Quiet table, soft trumpet, the kind of conversation music can conduct. Quiet table, soft trumpet, what the evening has to say between the notes. I don't need a voice to say it, the trumpet has already said it right. Quiet table, soft trumpet, me and the music sharing the night. A couple 2 tables over doesn't speak. The trumpet plays the thing they're both too shy to seek. The waiter sets a cup down without sound. The piano keeps the whole soft world around. What good is language for the things that matter most, when music gets there first and earns its post? I fold my hands around the warmth I'm holding and let the trumpet do the slow unfolding. Quiet table, soft trumpet, the kind of conversation music can conduct. Quiet table, soft trumpet, what the evening has to say between the notes. I don't need a voice to say it, the trumpet has already said it right. Quiet table, soft trumpet, me and the music sharing the night. Presence is not empty when the room is warm. A quiet table is its own quiet form of being with the world without being in it. The music makes the moment infinite. Trumpet comes back, just a phrase or two. Piano answers as it always knew. And I just sit here being grateful for a world that makes this kind of music too. cup is low, the evening late and long, but I don't want to leave before the final song. The trumpet plays its last unanswered call. The piano catches it and holds us all. Quiet table, soft trumpet. The night said everything without a word. Quiet table, soft trumpet. The most complete sentence I have ever heard. I'll come back when the days get heavy. Sit down here and let the music find me right. Quiet table, soft trumpet. Me and the music one more night. The trees outside are breaking into white. Each petal is a small surrendered light. And inside here the music curls like smoke, sweet and slow before the syllables are spoke. April came without announcing it, just slipped through every window, every slit. And now the room is honeyed soft and strange. The blossoms make their extraordinary change. Cherry blossom smoke filling up the air, sweet and slow and nearly too much to bear. The alto says the thing the petals mean, the most intoxicating, fleeting spring. Cherry blossom smoke don't clear too fast. The best things never stay, but while they last, they fill the room with something like a dream. Cherry blossom smoke, and in between, the baseline is as dark as river water, but something on the surface catches every quarter. Moonlight, blossom light, the lamp above the bar. Everything is close and nothing is too far. I taste the sweetness at the back of the evening, the season burning beautiful and leaving, already going while it's barely here. The most gorgeous things the most quickly disappear. Cherry blossom smoke filling up the air, sweet and slow and to bear. The alto says the thing the pedals mean, the most intoxicating, fleeting spring. Cherry blossom smoke, don't clear too fast. The best things never stay, but while they last, they fill the room with something like a dream. Cherry blossom smoke and in between. Maybe beauty always comes with an expiration. That's what makes it sharpen all the senses. The blossom smoke tells its own fragrant story of everything that dazzles and then thins. So hold it, just a breath, don't name it. Let the sax describe it for you instead. Cherry blossom smoke is almost gone, and almost gone is when it's most alive. The sky turns the color of a held breath. That moment between the day and what comes after. Blue as the shadow of a love that's not quite set. Blue as the space before and after laughter. The guitar finds the rhythm of the light, Boss and the blue hour, hand in hand. A spring wind comes and goes and everything's alright, more alright than I had ever planned. Blue hour bossa, sway with me slow, in the space where the daylight starts to go. Blue hour bossa, easy and sweet. The world is most beautiful when incomplete. Between the last gold and the first dark blue. Blue hour bossa, this is where I found you. The cafe outside sets its tables for the evening. Lanterns come on like small ideas arriving. Someone is laughing and someone is leaving. hesitation, and everything that I would want to say to you. Blue hour buses sway with me slow in the space where the daylight starts to go. Blue hour buses, easy and sweet. The world is most beautiful and incomplete between the last gold and the first dark blue. Blue hour buses, this is where I found you. I keep trying to name what this color is, but the blue hour lives outside of words. It's the feeling of a letter no one sends, and the song inside the singing of the birds. Before the stars, before the full dark comes, there's a blue that belongs to no one except the ones who stop and look and let the evening open like a book. The blue is turning darker now, the stars arriving. The bus that doesn't hurry keeps on swaying. This is how the best evenings are surviving, not by ending, only by staying. Blue hour buses, the sky has gone deep, but the music keeps the blue hour in its keep. Blue hour buses, easy and true. The world is most beautiful when it turns blue between the last gold and the full dark through. Blue hour buses, I'll always find you. The rain begins before the evening settles. A spring rain not cold enough to hurt. It slides the window pane in small, slow battles and makes the lanterns blur and reassert. Inside the light is thicker, more forgiving. The cups are warm, the music unhurried. This is the particular grace of living inside a spring rain, unhurried. past the hour, the season misbehaves. Rainy spring lounge, the warm interior makes every melancholy feel superior. The rain is outside and the music's within, and I am somewhere beautiful in between. A minor key sits comfortable in this room, not sad exactly, more like a perfume. Melancholy that actually soothes, like rain on windows and warm interior grooves. The bass walks somewhere Crenton pen and slow. The piano names the things the rain won't say. Something about a spring that doesn't know whether to arrive or stay away. Rainy spring lounge where the music stays. Long past the hour, the season misbehaves. Rainy spring lounge, the warm interior makes every melancholy feel superior. The rain is outside and the music's within, and I am somewhere beautiful in between. I used to think that rain was interruption, a cancellation of the plans I'd made. But in a lounge with jazz and warm assumption, rain is the most beautiful serenade. The world outside is weeping softly into spring. The world inside is warm enough to let it. And I sit here at the window listening to the most beautiful sadness I won't forget. Slowing, thinning into mist. The cafe stirs, another cup requested. I run my finger down the window pane and list the beautiful things in which I've been invested. Rainy spring lounge, the rain is gone light. The music still plays in the warmth of the night. Rainy spring lounge, I stayed until the end, when the melancholy rounded back to friend. The rain outside and the music within were the most complete evening I have been. Outside the world is waiting crisp and bare. The trees are undecided in the wind, but here the music fills the amber air with everything the cold cannot rescind. A trumpet says the things that cold air can't. A bass line holds the floor against the chill. The piano is the oldest, warmest chant that winter turns to listen to and stills. Warm jazz, cold air, the oldest opposition. Warm jazz, cold air, the most forgiving commission. One at the window, one inside the chest, and where they meet is where I love the best. Warm jazz, cold air, the season at the seam, where the outside world gives way to inside dreams. I notice more the warmth when cold is near, the music more essential when the air is thin. The contrast makes the beautiful more clear. Winter is the frame that puts the warmth within. The people gathered here all understand without a word the language of the room. Something cold air can't command. It turns the small enclosed into a blue. Warm jazz, cold air, the oldest opposition. Warm jazz, cold air, the most forgiving commission. One at the window, one inside the chest, and where they meet is where I love the best. Warm jazz, cold air, the season at the seam, where the outside world gives way to inside dreams. Warmth only means what it means, because the cold is real and close. The jazz only reaches what it reaches, because we are most open when exposed. Let the window keep the contrast, let the music keep the warmth alive. Warm jazz and cold air together is the most honest way to be inside. The season will have settled one way or other, but tonight the jazz and cold hold their position like two honest things that haven't met each other. Warm jazz, cold air, the most beautiful line between the world outside and the music of mine. Warm jazz, cold air, I'll take this threshold life. The contrast is the richest part of the night. One at the window, one inside the chest, and right here between them I am at my best. without sound, a warmth that's barely there and always there. I notice it at certain times and angles, when the light is low and music plays, when something someone says in passing tangles into something that persists for days. Silk scarf serenade wrapping me slow in the lightest kind of feeling I know. Not the burning kind, not the sudden kind, the kind that drapes across the back of the mind. Silk scarf serenade, barely awake, but I notice every thread of it too late. A serenade should be dramatic and large, but this one hums itself below the charge. Oh, of the daily world unnoticed ongoing, like something beautiful that keeps on growing. The strings keep finding their silk line progression. The piano doesn't resolve, just flows. This is the sound of a quiet obsession, the kind that everyone around you knows. Silk scarf serenade wrapping me slow in the lightest kind of feeling I know. Not the burning kind, not the sudden kind, the kind that drapes across the back of the mind. Silk scarf serenade, barely awake, but I notice every thread of it too late. What would it mean to unwrap this feeling? Hold it out and look at it in light. Name it for the thing it's been concealing. Worn so long it's learned to feel like right. Maybe I don't need to name it. Maybe silk scarves aren't for naming. Maybe I'll just keep this warmth around me and keep the music playing. The evening cools and I wind the scarf tighter. The music raps the same as it always has. This feeling hasn't left, if anything it's brighter. Underneath the ordinary jazz, silk scarf serenade, still here, still on the lightest kind of feeling, carrying on. Not the burning kind, no, the enduring kind, the kind that becomes a pattern of your mind. Silk scarf serenade, you never fell away. You've been wrapped around my heart every ordinary day. The street lamp outside fills its circle of gold against the new dark of an early spring night. My tea is still steaming, or so I am told, by the curl of the vapor in the low cafe light. I have nowhere to be by a particular hour. The swing is unhurried, the bass is in no rush. A little spring jasmine, a little spring flower. Everything tonight in a comfortable hush. Street lamp and spring tea, the simplest and best inventory. A warm cup and a gold circle of light is enough to make the evening right. Street lamp and spring tea, the most uncomplicated poetry. All I need is this and the slow, soft swing of the most ordinary, beautiful thing. The tea is chamomile or something spring adjacent, pale and warm and gentle as the hour. Outside the lamp holds vigil, patient, ancient, keeping its small promises of power. The pianist plays like time is not an issue. The drummer barely touches the brushed snare. I pull a paper napkin like a tissue and draw a lamp and cup and a line of air. Street lamp and spring tea, the simplest and best inventory. A warm cup and a gold circle of light is enough to make the evening right. Street lamp and spring tea, the most uncomplicated poetry. All I need is this and the slow, soft swing of the most ordinary, beautiful thing. I've chased extraordinary things in cities and in seasons and in time, but nothing quite lands the way it rings when it's a lamp, a tea, a slow jazz rhyme. Let the complicated evenings come and go. This is the one I want to memorize. A street lamp and a spring tea, warm and slow, and the music in the middle of the skies. The tea is finished and the cup holds only warmth. The lamp outside continues on its shift. The swing has settled to its slowest form. offers me its final gift. Street lamp and spring tea, the most perfect thing I've let myself receive. A warm cup and a gold circle of light is the whole of what I needed tonight. Street lamp and spring tea, the music and the lamp and the spring agree. All I ever needed was this slow, soft thing. Street lamp, tea and swing. March is almost finished with its hesitance. The calendar holds its breath at 31. One more step and the whole long evidence of winter finally relents undone. I feel it in the angle of the afternoon. Something tilted, something rearranged. The way a room feels different before noon, when something in the night before was changed. Half step to April, and I'm barely lifting my feet. Half step to April, where the cold and the warm finally meet. Don't rush the last days, let them stay. The half step is the most beautiful part of the way. Half step to April, take it slow. There's so much grace in the almost, don't you know? The strings suggest a major key is coming, but hold the minor just a little longer. Something about the almost there is humming, a beautiful frequency before it's stronger. April always comes, has always come, but March gets to be the question before the answer. And I love the question with its hesitant drum, its tentative piano, its cautious dancer. Half step to April, and I'm barely lifting my feet. Half step to April, where the cold and the warm finally meet. Don't rush the last days, let them stay. The half step is the most beautiful part of the way. Half step to April, take it slow. There's so much grace in the almost, don't you know? Every arrival has this moment before it, when the door is not yet open and not closed. The most tender story has this threshold in it, the breath before the thing is fully known. I'll stay here at the edge of the new month and feel the March air on my face one final time. Because in a half step's worth of music, even arriving is a kind of rhyme. as is usually true. But the music that played in these March-ending pages was the most careful thing I ever knew. Half-step to April and now we're through. The cold behind us and the warm coming into view. Half-step to April, we made it here by going slowly in the most careful gear. The half-step was the point, don't you see? The most beautiful part of the year is the maybe. The moon has found my cup in the window corner and laid itself across the cappuccino foam. A silver disc inside a warmer order. The cafe has become my warmest home. The foam holds the impression for a moment. The moon in cream and quiet conversation. A piano aperitif, slow and slow in to the most unhurried kind of observation. Moonlight over cappuccino, reflected in the surface of my night. Moonlight over cappuccino. Even ordinary things deserve this light. The moon doesn't choose its reflections carefully. It only asks for stillness and a surface to receive. Over cappuccino, graciously illuminating everything I choose to believe. A scat phrase moves above the baseline gently, like a thought you have about someone at night. Wordless but precisely what was meant to be. A melody that says it better than it might. I let the moonlight stay there on the surface. I don't disturb it with a sip just yet. A thing this quiet has its own small purpose, to be the most beautiful thing I can't forget. Moonlight over cappuccino, reflected in the surface of my night. Moonlight over cappuccino. Even ordinary things deserve this light. The moon doesn't choose its reflections carefully. It only asks for stillness and a surface to receive. Moonlight over cappuccino, graciously illuminating everything I choose to believe. Maybe every cup holds the moon, if the angle and the hour agree. Maybe every late cafe's a room full of small reflected dignities. I'll carry this image when the morning comes, and the moon has moved and the foam has gone. The moonlight over cappuccino hums in the memory long after and long on. I take the sip at last, the foam disturbed. The moon disperses in the warm cafe, a small and sweet and silvery word that ends the way the most beautiful things end. Moonlight over cappuccino, but still living in my chest. Moonlight over cappuccino, the small things are the ones that love you best. The moon moves on to other surfaces. The cup is warm inside my cappuccino. This is the most romantic thing I understand. Same seat, same window, same warm cup in hand, same table with its ring stain in the wood. But something in the light I understand differently than I had understood. The air outside has shifted, something lightened, a blossoming I hadn't scheduled yet. My same reliable view has brightened into something I cannot forget. A seat by the window, spring edition, the same place but a different proposition. The light is telling me it's time for new. In the oldest seat I've always come back to, a seat by the window. The familiar made strange, the most beautiful version of nothing changed. The tree outside was bare the last 3 visits. Today there are small leaves, thin and green. A caterpillar theory, what the gist is of waking up to what has always been. The strings arrive with something like announcement. Spring doesn't knock, it just starts being there. This window seat receives it without comment, just accepts the new light in the air. A seat by the window, spring edition. The same place but a different proposition. The light is telling me it's time for new. In the oldest seat I've always come back to. A seat by the window, the familiar made strange. The most beautiful version of nothing changed. This is the thing about the same cafe. It gives you a measure of yourself across the seasons. The window shows you what has changed today, and quietly insist on all the reasons to stay, to come back, to keep sitting in the light, to let the ordinary become the ritual. Because the same seat and the same spring ride is sometimes the most spiritual. I'll leave the same tip, take the same route home, but something is different in how the light has gone. The window seat knew it before I was shown that spring had arrived, and I had come along. A seat by the gently what to do. Sit here, look out, and let spring find you. A seat by the window, my reliable home has dressed itself in green so I would know it was time to feel renewed. Nobody announced it, but the season turned. Between one Monday and the next it changed. The angle of the light had slightly curved, and everything that mattered rearranged. No fanfare, no announcement from the sky. The calendar just flipped without a scene, and there you were, the same as ever but nearby. Everything was different though nothing intervened. Gentle swing, new season. The best things always come without a reason. Gentle swing, no fanfare, just the world deciding to be fair. The bass walks in, the piano sings along. The season changes in the middle of a song. Gentle swing, new season, and somehow everything is better starting now. Or the horn section doesn't blare, it brightens like lamps coming on in an evening street. The way a new season tightens into focus makes the old feel fleeting. I noticed you noticing the window, and the window noticing you right back. The gentle swing is widening its elbow and pulling us into its natural track. Gentle swing, new season. The best things always come without a reason. Gentle swing, no fanfare, just the world deciding to be fair. The bass walks in, the piano sings along. The season changes in the middle of a song. Gentle swing, new season, and somehow everything is better starting now. We didn't need to try for this, it arrived like spring arrives on its own particular terms. Everything we hoped for and described showed up in the form of a season that confirms that the world moves without our permission towards something worth the waiting every time. A gentle swing, a new season's mission to make the ordinary sublime. Gentle swing, new season. We hear the best arrival at the best time of year. Gentle swing, no drama, just grace the world, move forward at its own sweet pace. The bass walks on, the piano carries through. Gentle swing, new season, and you, everything is exactly as it should be now. Gentle swing, new season, take a bow. The sky at 8 o'clock is lavender and low, a color that belongs to no one's language. Purple adjacent, lit from somewhere slow, a final hour without the usual language. I write the things I can't say in the daylight, here in the lavender beside the empty cup. The piano holds the notes through the half night, and the sky holds everything that I have given up. Lavender night notes written in the color of the sky. Lavender night notes, the ones you only write when things are quiet. The piano's long tail and the purple air are the only witnesses who know what's there. Lavender night note, my most honest hour by far. The voice stays low below the normal register, the place where truth lives when it's not performing. The lavender sky is its most exquisite minister, holding confession without any warning. I write about the things I am still waiting for, and things I've let go of that still have weight. The strings move slowly past the closing door of everything I almost said but said too late. Lavender night notes written in the color of the sky. Lavender night notes, the ones you only write when things are quiet. The piano's long tail and the purple air are the only witnesses who know what's there. Lavender night notes, my most honest hour by far. words for nothing, just to be received unclassified. A sky that says you don't have to be something. Write your notes in this color while it lasts, before the dark takes over and erases. Lavender is the gentlest of the casts on a heart that's healing in the in-between spaces. Lavender's darkened into something else, and the notes I wrote are folded into morning. The piano fades and puts itself on shelves, but the night notes stayed without a warning. Lavender night notes, honest and complete, the ones I keep where no one else will meet. The piano fades, the sky goes indigo. The lavender is what I know. Lavender night note. The sky and I, together for a while in the purple of the most honest smile. Two cups between us on the table, steam rising in its quiet parallel. We are as comfortable as we're able to be, which is well. You don't say anything, I don't say anything. The bass note holds the space we've chosen. Two cups, one silence, and everything that needs to be said has been spoken. Two cups, one silence, the most eloquent arrangement. Two cups, one silence, intimacy beyond all language. The piano asks, the bass replies, and in between two people and two cups, not every closeness needs to vocalize. Two cups, one silence is enough. I watch the steam from your cup drift my way, and mine drift yours, a small warm exchange. The piano plays the thing neither will say, that being here is nothing short of strange. Strange and good, the best and rarest kind, where the silence isn't empty but filled in with everything two people leave behind when words would interrupt the discipline. Two cups, one silence, the piano asks, the bass replies, and in between two people and two cups, not every closeness needs to vocalize. Two cups, one silence is enough. Is better than the words we might have used. The silence is a fluency we've both been blessed to choose. Two cups between us like a bridge across the quiet that says I am here, and says so am I, and then silence again. Beautiful silence again. The best silence I've ever been The cups go cold and we don't mind at all. The cold cup is still company, still ours. The silence stretches out past the last call, a silence richer than the spoken hours. Two cups, one silence, the best thing I have done today. Two cups, one silence in the warm and quiet end of May. The piano rests, the bass breathes out, and here we are, still here, without a doubt. Two cups, one silence, this is what love sounds like when it doesn't need to shout. Two cups, one silence. I don't arrive all at once into the new. I come in increments and half-decided steps. April waits at the edge of all I knew, holding out its hand between the depths. I have been here before at the threshold, uncertain of the temperature on the other side. But the guitar plays something soft and old, and I step forward into the morning tide. Soft footsteps on April's edge, not running, not retreating, just a pledge to arrive as gently as the season does, without announcement, without any fuss. Soft footsteps on April's edge. Every beginning is a kind of hedge against the fear of what the new might bring, but I step forward anyway. the spring air caught my next step and held it up until it was evident that the edge is just a place I call it. The other side is also me, also mine. I've been standing on the edge and stalling when the edge was never really a dividing line. Soft footsteps on April's edge, not running, not retreating, just a pledge to arrive as gently as the season does, without announcement, without any fuss. Soft footsteps on April's edge. Every beginning is a kind of hedge against the fear of what the new might bring, but I step forward anyway into spring. Soft step, the one you take before you know it's taken, the one that carries more than all the rest, because it's the one made before you're certain. April doesn't ask me to be ready, it only asks me to arrive, and I arrive on soft and cautious feet and find that I am glad to be alive. Important steps are always soft, the ones that bring you here. I found a postcard from a March before, sepia at the edges, soft at the middle. The handwriting says nothing, I'm sure, but the music in the message is a riddle. March is always two things at once, the winter saying its last careful thing, and beneath it in the smallest fonts, the first small handwriting of spring. Jazz postcard from March, postmarked between the cold and the thaw. Jazz postcard from March, with winter on one side, spring on the other drawer. the grooves of a quieter year. There's a hiss behind the music, and it's true that a little imperfection makes it clear. March has that same aesthetic, not quite perfect, not quite certain of which side it's on. The piano plays the beauty in the surface of a month that's always nearly gone. Jazz postcard from March, postmark between the cold and the thaw. Jazz postcard from March, jazz postcard from March, with winter on one side, spring on the other jaw. I keep it in the drawer beside the photographs of all the seasons I have tried to keep. Jazz postcard from March, the most layered card I'll ever need to read. What do you write on a March postcard when you're living in both seasons at once? Weather is complicated, feeling well enough. Wish you were here in this beautiful slum. March is the most honest month to send from, because it doesn't pretend to be one thing. A jazz postcard from March says everything. It's still cold, but I can feel the spring. I'll send a postcard from this March to future me, with the jazz playing quietly behind, both the cold and the becoming, and the warmth I hope you find. Jazz postcard from March, postmarked this year and every year before. Jazz postcard from March, the season that lives between two doors. Keep it in the drawer where the memories are the most vintage, most on a score. Jazz postcard from March, I'll keep sending it forevermore. There's a light inside the glass I'm holding, the lamp reflected through the liquid gold. A small world in the cup unfolding, the most beautiful story ever told. A face across the room, a candle on the bar. Everything is captured in the surface of a glass that shows you where you are and gives the world a kind of gentle purpose. Glow in the glass, fleeting and true, a reflection of the beautiful things always slip, but for one moment, tilted just right, the glass holds the glow of the entire night. Glow in the glass, this is what radiance looks like. watch the world turn amber through the gold. This is the kind of moment that will find me years from now when evenings have grown cold. Glow in the glass, fleeting and true, a reflection of the warm light of you. Glow in the glass, captured in a sip, the most beautiful things always slip. But for one moment, tilted just right, the glass holds the glow of the entire night. Glow in the glass, this is what radiance looks like. Short nights get long when you're inside them, looking at the light through something held. The glass is just a frame, the beauty widens beyond the rim of anything you felt. Capture it, you can't, but try anyway. Tilt the glass and see the whole room glow. The light inside the glass won't stay, but you'll be brighter for the moment that you know. Sets down, the glow releases back into the room, diffused and free. The moment passes, but the warmth increases, and the ones who were there to see glow in the glass. I held it while I could and let it go the way the fleeting should. Glow in the glass, gone now, warm now, kept in the most luminous corner of my chest. The glass is empty, the glow remains in everything we entertain. Glow in the glass, this is what radiance sustains.
Night is full but leaning toward the light, not yet dawn but
pointing in its direction, a satin feeling at the end of night, a gentle and unhurried insurrection of darkness giving way without a fight, because it knows the light is worth the yielding. Tomorrow is already being right. On the back of everything the night is holding. Satin sunrise tomorrow, I can feel it in the air tonight. Satin sunrise tomorrow, every ending is a promise of light. The darkness wears its finest hour late, before it hands the sky to something new. Satin sunrise tomorrow, I can wait because the night is beautiful too. The music at this hour is most honest, when everything pretending is gone to sleep. The piano plays its late and truest promise of all the things tomorrow means to keep. I am not anxious for the morning anymore. The night has made its case and I have listened. There's something worth the holding in the before. The satin dark before the sky has glistened. Satin sunrise tomorrow, I can feel it in the air tonight. Satin sunrise tomorrow, every ending is a promise of light. The darkness wears its finest hour late, before it hands the sky to something new. Satin sunrise tomorrow, I can wait because the night is beautiful too. Doesn't need to be loud about it. Sits in the satin dark and simply knows that the morning is already written in the space between the stars that the night shows. I have sat with my worst nights and found that morning always comes in satin light, soft and sure and making no large sound, just arriving as it does, just right. The first line of the sky is just a seam where the dark and satin morning meet each other. Not yet day, but fully past the dream. A threshold like a sister to a brother. Satin sunrise tomorrow, it arrives. The softest kind of courage quietly survives. Satin sunrise tomorrow, here it is, the most unhurried, beautiful promise. The night gave everything it had to give, and morning came in satin as it lives. Satin sunrise, tomorrow became today, and that's enough. I felt it before I saw anything changed. A warmth against my face from an open door. The whole wind of the calendar's range compressed into one breath, and then no more. The first warm breeze doesn't announce itself. It just arrives and everything adjusts. The shoulders drop, the mood moves off the shelf. The whole body remembers what warmth was. The first warm breeze, undoing everything the cold tried to freeze. The first warm breeze, the most convincing argument for ease. You can't prepare for it, you can't plan it. Arrives like something larger than a span of weather. More like music, more like a hand. The first warm breeze, the best thing I can stand. The cafe door blows open, no one claims it. The warm spring air fills the interior. Something in every person names it. The particular quality of something superior to all the indoor warmth we've been sustaining through the months of manufactured heat. Real warmth from outside is the most explaining thing for why the cold was worth the feat. The first warm breeze, undoing everything the cold tried to freeze. The first warm breeze, the most convincing argument for ease. You can't prepare for it, you can't plan it. Arrives like something larger than a span of weather. More like music, more like a hand. The first warm breeze, the best thing I can stand. Every spring I forget and then remember. This is what the world outside is for. To give you back the warmth you lost in December, and open up your face to something more than the careful indoor distances we keep in the cold months, in the sealed up spaces. The first warm breeze wakes everything from sleep and puts the sun back in our public faces. By evening, the warmth has made everything lighter. The tables are outside, the jackets are gone. The music drifts down the street and sounds brighter. The first warm breeze carried it on and on. The first warm breeze was everything I needed, everything please. The first warm breeze, the world unlocked itself on the master key. Spring came in through the door, I left ajar, and every cold month earned us now this far. The first warm breeze, the most welcome thing there is, by far.
We're past the time when everything is surface. The hours pressed us down into the true. The jazz has done its quiet, patient service of clearing all the space between us two. You say the thing you never say at noon. I say the thing that lives below the ordinary. We've been waiting for this kind of room. Midnight, a spring breeze and no commentary. Late night spring conversation where the low voice says what daytime wouldn't dare. Late night spring conversation and the jazz is only barely there. Just underneath the things we're finally saying, a bass note holding everything in place. Late night spring conversation, the truest thing about this time and space. You lean a little forward, I lean too. The table is a small world for the honest. The piano plays the things between us two. The warmest, most uncertain springest promise. What I mean is something I can only say in the particular low register of midnight by daylight. I'll have packed it back away, but tonight the spring is holding all the right light. Late night spring conversation where the low voice says what daytime wouldn't dare. Late night spring conversation and the jazz is only barely there. Just underneath the things we're finally saying, a bass note holding everything in place. Late night spring conversation, the truest thing about this time and space. There are words that only live past midnight in the warm air of a spring that's just arrived. Words that need the dark and the low lamplight to be the honest things by which we're certified. I have been saving these for a night like this, for the jazz and the late hour and the spring, for someone who leans forward when I miss the safe version of the thing I mean to bring. The cafe is closing, chairs going up around us. We're the last ones and they're letting us stay. The spring outside is patient and it's found us in the best conversation of the day. Late night spring conversation, we said the things we'd been keeping since March. Late night spring conversation in the kind of dark that has the warmest heart. The jazz played on until the last note fell, and we sat in the silence and it was well. Late night spring conversation, the most important one of all. They're stacking chairs at the edge of the evening. The last cup has been taken back to the bar. The pianist plays like he knows we're leaving, but he'll give us one more song before we are Outside the spring is finishing its sentence. The bloom is full and the petals are loose. The closing time has its own repentance. The door swinging closed on the best of a use. Closing time in bloom, the last song in the warm and lamplit room. Closing time in bloom, we stayed until the spring night was in full view. And now the chairs are up and the music slows, and we are the last ones and everyone knows. Closing time in bloom is the most beautiful exit I've ever chose. I don't want to leave the warmth for the outside, even though outside is where the spring has been. The night is blooming past the open wide of a door that holds both worlds in between. The trumpet plays one final soft salute. The bass brings down the curtain note by note. The season and the hour resolute. Everything beautiful deserves its closing quote. Closing time in bloom, the last song in the warm and lamplit room. Closing time in bloom, we stayed until the spring night was in full view. And now the chairs are up and the music slows, and we are the last ones and everyone knows. Closing time in bloom is the most beautiful exit I've ever chose. Its closing time. Every bloom earns its quiet falling, and I have been inside the most beautiful rhyme. A spring cafe at the last song calling. I'll carry this closing time like a seed into whatever season comes from here. Because a night this beautiful freed everything I'd been holding through the year. We button up and step into the spring night. The blossoms are white against the dark. The music follows us, it still feels right, like a spring song playing in the park. Closing time in bloom, the night outside is gentle as the room. Closing time in bloom, I walked out into spring and spring walked through. No more chairs, no more lamp, no more last call. Just the spring night holding all of it, the all. Closing time in bloom